Addiction is a chronic disease that affects millions of people every day. According to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, 23 million Americans aged 12 and older suffer from alcohol and drug addiction. Unfortunately, many people still associate addiction with poverty, abuse, homelessness, and racial stereotypes. But what does the real face of addiction look like? Addiction is a disease that does not discriminate. It affects all races and every socioeconomic class. Drug use and addiction has become more and more prevalent among our society today. The reality is that addiction affects everyone. They are parents, children, friends, work colleagues, sisters, and brothers. They have jobs and attend social functions. Addiction does not discriminate between the rich and the poor, or the young and the old. Addiction is not generalizable, and treatment should look at all the factors in a person's life. But does it only affect the individual?
My family, I have my little brother and my mum and my dad, but I'm living with my nan and granddad at the moment because my mum has got to be sober for a certain amount of time.
I really want to stay at my mum and dad's permanently and just go over to my granddad's for visits.
Dad works all day and he gets back quite late, so we're not allowed to go home alone with mum. I really love her, really so much. She's a really great mum, the best mum ever. But when she's drinking, I don't like her. I think it started when I was about 4. Yeah, so it's been going on for quite a long time.
When I was little, my mum used to steal a lot of my money because she was drunk. It made me feel upset and angry and sad at the same time.
She argues with Dad a lot, but really aggressively, and she doesn't really care much about stuff. I thought, oh, it's just normal, but now when I look back on things, they were quite bad.
She normally very angry at nearly everything I say. I'm too scared to go and say, "Are you drunk?" to Mummy because I'm scared it might upset her.
Alcoholism and drug addiction affects the whole family. Young, teenage, or grown-up children, wives or husbands, brothers or sisters, parents or other relatives, and even friends. One family member addicted to alcohol and drugs means the whole family can suffer. Addiction is a family disease that stresses the family to the breaking point, impacting the stability of the home, the family's unity, the mental health, the physical health, the finances, and the overall family dynamics. Without help, active addiction can totally disrupt family life and cause harmful effects that can last a lifetime. Regrettably, no family is born with the knowledge of how to deal effectively with addiction. It is a skill that must be learned and practiced daily. But with the proper help and support, family recovery can become a reality.
Family gets sick together and a family gets well together.
Nobody gets ill in a family system and it doesn't affect others.
It's a family disease. It doesn't just happen to the addict, the alcoholic. It happens to the family as well. Everybody is affected by it, and everybody plays a part in it.
This is a family problem. Everyone in the family has to be a part of the recovery.
Family therapy, to be distinguished from individual therapy, is therapy in which the family itself is the patient instead of the individual. So even though I may be working with the family of a client at Miramar, it's not the client that I'm there to treat when we're doing family therapy, it's the family itself. That means that we'll be looking at patterns within the family, patterns revolving around the structure, the boundaries, the rules, the roles, the patterns of behavior that are going on within the family that may be problematic on some level or contributing to the substance abuse problem. The rationale for family therapy is that sometimes it's not enough to try to fix one's problems in isolation, because we don't typically exist in a world just with ourselves. So much like if you had an alignment problem on your car and you just simply changed your tire, that would not be a sufficient solution to the problem because it's simply going to be worn down again by the alignment problem. So the idea in family therapy is that oftentimes there's many things that need to be adjusted in order to make a more complete recovery or change.
So the recovery process is about talking, trusting, and feeling. And those things are difficult on both sides. Either the family members or the friends have a difficult time with those rules. And the person who has the substance abuse problem, who's now free of the active portion of the disease, they still have it, but it's in remission. And they have to begin to learn how to talk because they've not been talking assertively. So they learn and work on, in treatment, a lot of assertive skills so that they can learn to identify what it is that they're feeling, really feeling without the substances, and how it is that they communicate what it is that they need and want and how they appreciate their families. The second thing is about trusting. They have to be able to trust themselves that they're not going to use, and they also need family members to begin trusting. And that's very difficult because family members are scared. They've seen this before, the person has said they're going to stop, and then they don't, and they're unable to. So family members have a difficult time trusting as well. And then the feeling, it takes some time for the feeling just in the brain to come back for the person who has the substance abuse problem. And for others, if they don't feel emotionally safe, they're not going to let down their guard and be hurt again. So it takes a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of patience for people to get through this and to heal those 3 rules that have been developed in the active addiction space.
This is MPACT. MPACT stands for Moving Parents and Children Together and Away from Addiction, and it's doing it as a whole family. There are something like 3.5 million children living with parents or adults who are binge drinking or worse. It's a huge problem in the UK. You have to think about addiction as a consuming relationship with a substance or a behaviour. Whoever is addicted is consumed, and therefore they haven't got much time for anything else, like making a meal, putting a child to bed, picking them up from school, because you're engaged with something else, and that's all you can think about. Now, some people, even addicted people, will try their best, but they can't give it everything that they need to give it, the important business of parenting.
If we think about that, for each person that has an addiction, 4 other people in that family are affected, that kind of gives you an idea of the scale of the problem. The program runs over 8 weeks. It's a 2.5-hour program each week, and it's run by 4 facilitators.
The experience of the young people.
Wherever possible, we try to include all that are willing to engage in the family. That could be a combination of either the whole family or mum and the child. Sometimes the child even comes on their own. We use art medium to help people to tell stories or to express feelings, and we also want them to have fun. So the idea is that it becomes also a social gathering, that people can get together, but also discussing some serious stuff that goes on in the family that often is hidden. The program is really about limiting the harm, give a voice to the children and enable them to talk about how they've been affected by their parents' substance misuse, and also uncovering hidden harm.
I've been working in the addiction and family field for around 15 years now. So I've done a range of local, national and international work around the area of the impact of addiction on families. We want to give children a range of ways to express themselves, which mirrors kind of very much what the facilitators aim to do in an MPACT programme. I think some of the most powerful outcomes, there's been examples of parents recognising very strongly through taking part in MPACT of how addiction's affected their kind of family, that they've been motivated to engage and go on to complete substance misuse treatment. What MPACT also seems to do is change and to facilitate kind of healthier communication. They're spending more time together, parents are able to better meet the needs of their children, there are better bonds between kind of families that overall lead them to be healthier. They learn how to stay safe, and these can be unsafe environments in which children and families live. Children have said that MPACT can help them feel less sad, feel less angry, feel more confident. Some children talk about getting on better at school, and it can bring resilience, learning how to cope with adversity and how to minimise the kind of negative effects of these adversities.
If you're a family member and you have someone in your family who's an addict or an alcoholic and you'd like to help them, the best thing you can do is to get some information about addiction. Understand what the disease is about.
I didn't cause it.
I can't cure it.
I can't control it.
I can help take care of myself by communicating my feelings, making healthy choices, and celebrating me.